Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really cool concept that basically turns AI into your most dedicated, most tireless team member. We're talking about the Controls and Audit Passport, or what we'll call CAP for short. So let me ask you something. How many times in business do we only find a problem, a control failure, a compliance issue, way too late? During some manual audit, or even worse, after the damage has already been done. It's a super common and, frankly, a super costly problem to have. And that, right there, is what we call reactive governance. It's the old way of doing things. Your internal controls get checked every once in a while, usually by a person looking at a tiny sample of data. You're always looking in the rearview mirror, which means risks can be growing right under your nose, and you won't know until it's a real headache. But what if you could just flip that whole script? What if, instead of being reactive, you could be proactive? Well, that's exactly where AI comes in. When you give it the right set of instructions, it becomes a total game changer. And the playbook for giving those instructions, that's the Controls and Audit Passport. Okay, so what is a CAP, really? The best way to think about it is like an execution contract for your AI. It's not some complicated piece of software. It's actually a structured document written in plain language that tells an AI exactly what to watch, what rules to check for, and precisely when to raise a red flag. It turns AI into that perfect internal auditor that works for you 24/7 and never gets tired. Now, check out this comparison because this is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about a massive leap from the old way to the new way. You go from infrequent manual spot checks to continuous automated oversight. And instead of just looking at a small sample of your data, the AI reviews everything, the whole population. This is huge. It means you stop just detecting failures that already happened and you start identifying risks as they're just starting to emerge. A lot of people get nervous about AI because they think it's some kind of black box, right? Like you put data in, an answer comes out, but you have no idea how it got there. Well, the CAP was designed specifically to bust that myth. It's all about making the process completely transparent and logical. So let's look at how it's built. Every CAP follows these clear, logical steps. First, you define the objective. What are we trying to do here? And why does it matter? Then, you tell the AI exactly which data it's allowed to look at. You set the rules for what's supposed to happen, and then the logic for how to test those rules. You even define exactly what counts as a risk. And maybe most importantly, you tell it when to stop and hand things over to a human. See? It's not magic at all. It's just a clear, repeatable, and totally auditable set of instructions. Okay, so that's the theory. But where does the rubber actually meet the road? Where can you use this stuff in a real business? Well, it turns out the possibilities are pretty much endless and can touch almost every single department. And this just shows you how versatile it is. In finance, for instance, a CAP can be constantly scanning for weird journal entries. Over in procurement, it can check every single vendor invoice against your contract terms to make sure you're not getting overcharged. For compliance, it can make sure tax rules are being applied the same way across thousands and thousands of transactions. You're basically putting an expert set of eyes on every critical process in your entire organization, all at once. Now, when you start to adopt this kind of approach, something really fundamental begins to change. It's not just a new tool, it's a complete shift in how you think about governance. You move away from that world of just checking things once in a while to a state of continuous assurance. And this is probably the most crucial point to remember. The CAP gives the AI guardrails. It empowers the AI to do what it does best: observe, analyze, and report on potential issues with incredible speed and accuracy. But it never, ever makes the final decision. The AI flags the problem and explains why it's a problem, but then a human steps in to decide what to do next. It's all about empowerment, not replacement. So what's the bottom line here? What's the big takeaway? Well, the outcome is a business that can actually see problems coming. Your controls get enforced the same exact way every single time with no human fatigue or bias. Your big, formal audits suddenly get way easier and faster because the AI has already done all the heavy lifting. But most importantly, you get this incredible real-time visibility into the actual health of your business. You know what's working and what isn't right now. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. When you look at your own organization's processes, are you spending all your time looking in the rearview mirror, trying to figure out what already went wrong? Or are you looking forward, down the road, ready to spot and handle risks before they ever turn into full-blown failures? Because that, right there, is the forward-looking promise of this whole approach.